That's Trevor, and we're gonna do a little different video today. And excuse me, I have my glasses on because I need them, because I don't see that much if we're gonna do this type of video too. But first we take the intro and see you soon.
Welcome to Sanniz, Swedish Elder Goth. Not just stuck in one box. My channel is about everything. Not just Goth!
Hello, Darklings. My name is Sanniz. I'm a Swedish Elder Goth, and who are you?
I'm Trevor, better off.
A better half, he said at least. We're gonna take a little fast the background story. This is gonna first. What we're gonna do is talk about this thing with being together with a goth, especially if you're not goth yourself. But first we'll take a little short intro. Who are you, Trevor?
Me, I'm an Englishman living in a stupid country called Sweden.
It's not stupid.
Yeah, right, whatever. You're not looking from my eyes. I'm soon to be 55. She'll be 58. Oldie.
Now we start this. You see what I have to deal with. It
Yep.
was about you now. It's not about me. It's not about Sweden. It's about Trevor. So I can't continue.
You're still an oldie anyway, so you know, I have to live with the old age pensioner.
Yeah. Likewise.
Yeah, I've been here, what, 10 years?
Yeah, around-ish, I guess.
10 years in August. It's not a bad country, but like I say, I did it for personal reasons. One, mainly her.
I think that's the main reason.
Well, there is that as well, but then again, you know, you're always going to miss home anyway, so
Yeah.
never mind.
And should we take, how did you start knowing me? If people wonder.
We got chatting online, and just one thing led to another, and they end up being here.
And as you see, we all need our coffee, so. Yeah, we started, so it's more than 10 years since we started, at least chat with each other. First more like friends, but after every circumstances it went to be a little more than that, and you actually came over to Sweden for the first time. Before we moved here too, I think it was 1 year before.
Yeah, we think it was 2015.
Yeah, so he went here and we met, and then we decided that I should go back for 3 weeks to UK the year after. I think it was, or was it the same year I went on? No, it was the same year I went.
Same year. I came over earlier than the year.
Yeah,
you
it was
came
the
over
same
later.
year I went over for the first time to meet and stay for 3 weeks. And then we had some few trips in between before I went over for the last time when he still lived there. And we decided that now it's time to start the process. And we're not going to go into that, but it was a big hustle. It was a very long time before everything sorted.
That's because you lot, you dummies over here, when it comes to...
It's not we,
Okay,
it's the system.
It's not the system, it's the country, the people in charge. What they did is that over here, for instance in the UK, as of from July or end of June into July, the schools stop for 6 weeks. Here they stop for 2 months. What it is that all the office work, general working process shuts down by 2/3. So when I was trying to get, for instance, the Swedish version of the national insurance number or the Swedish personal number, we end up having to wait nearly 2, maybe 3 months because of everything sort of gets them backlogged, and because people are all on holiday, they're only working at third capacity instead of like full. Everything takes a longer process to be processed, so I end up with a temporary number for about 3 months until
We call it some mornings number, and that's what you get before you have a personal number. And you need to have I think you need to have at least a permanent or a very long permit to stay resident, to stay working visa or whatever to even get it. I'm not sure when you get a real number, but we don't have to go into the details because then it's gonna take hours to go through this video because yeah. And should we go more to your interest, especially when it comes to like music and hobbies and that type of things? What are you for kind of person, if people wonder?
Music-wise?
Yeah, music-wise.
Metalhead.
Oh, he's a metalhead. And
my favourite bands, well, I've had a few when I first started listening to heavy metal, heavy rock. I was originally introduced to Def Leppard, Hysteria, and then progressed from there. My first album was Hysteria, then bought Iron Maiden, Seventh Son, and then sort of worked back from there. Other music tastes, it could vary, it depends what it is. It depends if it's happy on my ears.
Yeah, it's a little like I say too, you don't have to listen to just one thing, you can listen up to your mood. You're not less what you want to be just because you listen to something else. So we know that he's a metalhead, and I know a little about his backstory too. I know that you have already little experience to being together with someone that is not a metalhead but still an alternative. If I remember right, you were together with a punk girl.
Yeah, she was a punk. She wanted to go to Rebellion, which I think at the particular time was held in Blackpool for like a long weekend. But the problem is that, don't get me wrong, punk was good, but it was only short-lived. But punk to me is far too aggressive in one way or another. I mean, don't get me wrong, Sex Pistols, you had the Ramones, you had all the other ones that came in. Fine, that's a different era altogether, sort of. But then it was the case of, it was, how can I put it? Punks were looked at as a social disease then, as skinheads, mohawks, things like that sort of thing, and so on and so forth. But as regarding punk, not really my
We don't
thing.
have to like everything, that at least we can agree about.
No,
Yeah.
we don't.
Yeah, but it's a little like you still have a little more experience to be outside the type of girls you maybe been dating before. So it's not like it's something new to be together. And then we're gonna come to the first question. What is your thought before you even started to date someone that was into goth then? What was your thought? How should that person be in your thoughts or something?
Doesn't matter. It doesn't necessarily mean about the music or sort or what they are. It's everybody has their own taste in women sort of thing, and it's the case of the previous relationships I had before never really connected to a degree I was after. Now, being with you and the goth scene, it's more my type in the fact of the way you sort of dress. The music-wise sort of thing is a major factor. I mean, the dress-wise doesn't really bother me as such. It's more the aesthetics of music. But like I said, my music can vary quite widely. It can go from either early synth sort of thing like Jean-Michel Jarre, can't think of it, Vangelis, them type of things that it can go to, for instance, Indian tribal music. I've listened to that before now, and then it can vary. But like I say, the music's got to be on my ears, not anybody else's.
Yeah.
I don't totally agree with a lot of the goth. Some of them, I won't say a lot. I'll say some of the goth things I'm not sort of into. The cyber goth, I think it's just too fucking glary for my liking. I can't be doing it. I mean, when we went to Subcult.
Subcult is a festival every year in Sweden.
Yeah.
People have missed out that.
I think there was one particular last that we saw. One minute she'll be wearing bright red, and next minute she's wearing a luminous green. And I kind of go, anyway, it's just too fucking garish for me, sort of thing.
But like I said, we don't have to like everything. But if we should take for an example, there's a lot of different memes going on internet, and especially from guys that don't know what goth is, and they say this thing about having a goth girlfriend because she have her big boobs and more like the fetishizing bit. What should you say? Your opinion about it? Is that something?
It's not a fetish thing. No, that's the fucking problem with people today. They're so docile. Some of the people that come up with some of the shit they come out with. I can't just look at them and go, "Oh, for crying out fucking hell, man, really?" You know, use your brain. It's not exactly what you're doing. Is you turn around, you're starting to label people how you see fit. That's not fair. At the end of the day, you don't label people just because they look different. Oh, because you know they wear the latex and they wear the PVC and so on. So what? If you're into that thing, fine. If you're not, leave it the fuck alone and piss off. Leave the people alone. It's not up to you to judge anybody else. The only thing is at the end of the day, judge yourself first before you judge anybody else.
And if you come to that phase, should you recommend someone, if you heard a guy come and talk with you, oh, I should want to be together with a goth girl, you know, because you have one too, and you know, boobies and the dresses and that type of thing. Should you really recommend that guy to be together just because of the look, or should you say you're gonna regret it when you realize how they are, when they not are that type of person they think they are most of the time?
If you're not really metalhead or whatever sort of thing, and you're interested in getting with a goth woman, do your background first, because in one way or another it's not going to last. It's as simple as that. I've seen it before and it's not really a good thing. Yeah, they do say opposites attract, but at least have the attraction to. Don't judge it. It's like I say, you just don't judge. You know, if you're into that sort of thing, then accept it wholeheartedly. If you're not going to accept it, don't bother. Walk away.
Yeah, and you can't really change that person after it. You might think it's cool in the beginning and something you want to brag with your friends or something, but in the end you're going to still have to deal with that for a long time if you're going to have a relationship that works. And a goth is not always a goth in the way you see it at first sight, first time. There can be different type of interest and everything like that too. So it's a lot of things that you need to put in a scale too.
I think what some people tend to don't realise is that when you get with a goth sort of thing, is the case of the clothing is mainly dark. Depending on the goth type you are, like for instance with her, she's mainly dark. They can spend an absolute age putting makeup on. I mean, you've on an average of around about a bloody hour sort of thing, you know, hour and a half sort of thing. Oh, we're going out today, yeah. What time are we going? Oh, we're heading out for 9:30. No, we're not. We're not heading out until after fucking 10 o'clock. But the thing is, at the end of the day, all I can say is that if you're interested in the goth type people, be prepared for a difference. Be prepared for a different type of life. At the end of the day, do your research on it. Get into a group of goth people first. Listen to how they think and how they are. Metalheads in one way or another and goths sort of can meld into each other.
Yeah, we have seen it more than once that actually the couple can be one of each. So metalhead and goths can be together. And I still think it's depends on which person both are. Because you need to accept the other person too, because it's two completely different things. Even if some just can ties together of some reason, they will go over the lines, like Typo Negative and the 69 Eyes and Death Stars are also that type of band that can cross over without problem. But at the same time, if you're a metalhead and should be able to listen even to one simple song that your partner gonna listen to all the time, so that's gonna be very hard to live with. It's the same when it comes to me. If I shouldn't be able to listen to what Trevor wants to listen to sometimes, that shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. Oh, and now we hear his friends outside, the seagulls. He always bully me for the magpies because he know that I like shiny things and things in silver and that type of things. And from UK, seagulls is very early, and here they come in different times and shouting. And now we had the seagulls. Well, all the sunfish are disturbed. But like I said, you still need to be able to meet halfway in some parts. Yeah, you can still keep the person you are, and both of them, and they keep your music too. But sometimes you need to meet somewhere in the middle too.
Well, the thing is, like you say, meet in the middle. That's fine. I don't mind that. I mean, since I've known you, I've got into a few other bands that I never would have really thought of listening to in the first place. And Birthday Massacre for one of them, which is what we started off with. That first video you ever sent for me, was it In the Dark? Was it the first one you sent to me of them? I mean, then I started listening to them. Now I've got them on my system. There's been a few other bands, I'm not really like sort of happy with a lot of this sort of stuff. Like I say, it's with me. It's got to be how it perceives to me when I listen to it. It's the same with her. You know, some of the bands that I listen to, she kind of goes, "Nah, I'm not really interested in that one." Then maybe something that does come up that she does like the sound of. So it swings and roundabouts in the back and forwards. I mean, because we are older. Like I say, I'm 55 nearly. She's nearly 58, and we're more, for instance. Goth-wise, Sisters of Mercy, you've got Field and Nephilim,
The Mission, The Cure,
all
Sue and
them
the
ones.
Banshees.
You know, we're sort of like the older generation. As for the younger generation, I really don't know now about, to be honest. But because back then, 80s and 90s sort of thing, we had a lot more in common.
And I think it's probably the same because when we listen to a lot of people, you didn't often grow up in a group like you can do in later days when you can be just goths in one group and just metalheads in one. Back then you maybe lived in a smaller town or village or something. You were not that many kids. The mainstream kids, of course, there were lots more. And then we had to stick together. It was the punkheads, it was metalheads, it was before we even knew the word goth. I just knew which type of music I liked because we could still listen to the music, but we didn't have the label yet over here. Of course, it was early in the UK because goth, started in UK, so you maybe knew the word back then in the beginning of 80s and that type of thing already. But I think when I talk with a lot of people when it come from that, so we hang together in a certain way when we grew up during the 80s, so it was not just you had to listen to just one thing, so we could accept each other's differences and still be friends.
I think in one way or another, like we've seen on the TV programme before or the documentary we watched, that if you look at the time when goth, punk, metal and everything else was kicking in, especially in the UK wise, was rebellion back to the government. You look at everything that was happening in the government in the UK in this back in the 70s and early 80s. You had a lot of union marches, Margaret Thatcher was in there, so on and so forth, and people wanted an escape. This is where, for instance, the New Romantics came in. When we watched that, I mean, even the Billy Idol one, even he turned around and said that the UK at the time was. It was almost like living in slums. I think is what he sort of put towards, and what people wanted that escape. So this is where, for instance, when the metal and the goth and the punk season started to come in, even Iron Maiden, they turned around and said that it was something to escape from.
Yeah, and I think many kids of today, when they think back about what they're reading about the 80s, they always miss that bit with how hard life was really. And they romanticize everything so much more, but we were growing up during those years. I didn't have that bad where I lived because I live in Sweden, so it's another country, but compared then when you go to UK and when it started be very hard even to get a job and all that type of things that was going on. So that was a way to protest against everything, especially if you're a youth and everything like that. You don't see a future really, so you try to do something else about it and show your type of way to protest. So I think we have a little easier when we are older, at least. I think it's probably couples that are younger, of course, but I think Trevor still had it a little more easier because he grew up a little similar like me, even if he came from UK. So we have a similar understanding for different type of music, and Trevor is a little like me too. It's a little like which mood you are in, depending what you listen for the moment too. And at the same time, he can come and say, I put together a mixed thing too, so we can actually have music from both. So he asks, what type of music do you want to, or he try to check out what I'm listening for the moment, and suddenly when we go in his car, from 1 minute we hear something in metal. It can be very hard metal sometimes, and sometimes it's very go back in the very old days, and now maybe think, oh, this is a little bit boring, like you usually hear sometimes. And then it comes, oh, that type of metal music, but suddenly I hear something that is very new, and then I know that he actually did it for me. It was not because he liked it from start, but maybe he started liking some bits of it too. But that shows that the respect for each other's music taste too, that we can do it for each other's. And it's a little like we did back in the days. If we hang together with a group of different kids, with different punk heads and metalheads and whatever we were. In Sweden we have syntare. There was people that listened to like electronic music, that is Depeche Mode from 242 and those things, and Kraftwerk. So we have that type of labeling too. But of course, we mixed our tapes too, so we could listen to all music. So no one could really complain, because you just had to wait till your time, and you're gonna have your song play too. And what should you say for biggest advice for people that want to be together with someone if they don't even interested of learning about the background or the music? Or
to be honest, in one way or another, I'll make it clear now, sort of, with what I'm going to say next. Right, anybody get into this type of music, goth, metalhead, or whatever sort of, is listen to it. I've had conversations with people back when I used to work in the UK of youngsters only listening to, for instance, the new Iron Maiden or new Metallica or the new records. They don't bother listening to the older stuff, the stuff that made them there in the first place. But there's one particular knock I really do have, I think some of the older ones will agree with this, and that is, I do not like the youngsters these days telling other people that they're not goth enough, or they're not metal enough, they're not punk enough, or this, that and the other. Sorry, who do you think you're talking to? We're the ones that brought this forward in the first place. If you're going to be a drippy little fucking idiot that seem to think that, oh, I'm into the goth thing and I know what I'm talking about. No, you fucking don't. I hate the fact that the many times I've listened to either my lady or other people that she follows, and I listen to what's been going on, what really bores my piss is the stupid youngsters think they know better. I'm sorry, dream on. You don't know better. You haven't been there. You wasn't actually there in the first place when you started off. So when you these little gits that comes in and think that you're not dressed as a goth. You're not dressed right. You're not.
yeah, but
All I want to do is turn around and slap little bitches in the face and say,
no, you can't slap it.
I know you can't,
but
but it's the aesthetic I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about idiots, especially youngsters telling the older ones, you can't do it that way. Excuse me, little bitch. Piss off before a bitch slap you silly. Go away. I've got no interest in it.
Don't take all the threats that is his way to just argue about things.
It's not to argue. What it is in one way or another, I'm sick to the back teeth of hearing these youngsters these days think they know better than they know jack shit.
Yeah, but it's not all youngsters. It's a certain group of youngsters.
It doesn't matter. I just labelled the whole lot of the same thing.
Yeah, but we can't take everyone over the same. But what I've tried to say that too is that it's not everyone, but we have a certain group that try to tell people off and even scare some of the youngsters away because they think they can never fit in a certain group. And that makes me annoyed too, of course, because I think you should be able to be yourself, and I usually say that I'm a goth, not just stuck in one box, just to show that you can do a lot of different things, but still get your goth points in that type of way, because it's still a music-based culture. You don't have to look like it, and if you don't want to use the makeup or the clothes and be black dressed or whatever all the time, or not even once, so that's up to you. If you still love the music, you're welcome, and if you're open-minded, even if you're not a goth, of course you're welcome too. But to tell people that they're not enough, that I think is very stupid, because who's gonna be enough? Even we older people are still learning about our things too. And if we stop learning about those things, how should we be able to make it even better in the future?
I've still learned a lot from you in the fact of the music and the aesthetic of the goth scene. It's so much different but very similar. If you understand the meaning.
Yeah, and this little I think it started around 2000 or something, at least here in Sweden, when it comes to like the very biggest festival, Sweden Rock Festival. Maybe people abroad have heard about it, because a lot of people travel here too to go to that one, because it's a very big one that have survived for all the years. And you can see this thing when it started to transform, especially when it comes to certain type of metal, when they started to actually look more like the goths did back then. And of course people started to be mixed up what's goth. And that could be also a little hard thing, because if you're into the dressing part of thing, then you maybe don't understand the complete difference in the different musics. Of course, like I said before, we have those crossovers, and we have music that goes like that is metal music too, and vice versa. You have metalheads that like some type of goth too, depending on which type it is, of course. But especially when it comes to the dressing, it's gonna be very hard to see then, if you just look at that part too, who's the goth and who's not the goth, if you don't know other things about that person too. But like I said, it shouldn't be about how we look like. It should be more like how we are as persons and how much we respect each other's. Because that's the biggest thing we need to lift forward. And people always ask if it's possible to two different people to be together, even if you don't have the same type of subculture in the background. And like I said, after our experience, yes, as long as you respect each other's and you not just try to force the other one to change into what you are, or force them to only listen to what you are listening to, you know the differences, you can back away, or you can meet halfway and do those type of things. So, and of course Trevor knows that goth don't necessarily have to look goth all the time either. And he knows that we don't wear makeup all the time either. Even if he still think I wear too much makeup all the time, especially when I'm off work.
The only time when you don't wear makeup is when you go to bloody bed.
Yeah.
It's the only time when you don't fucking wear makeup.
Yeah, but that is because it's not that good for the skin to go with makeup on all the time.
You can't go one day without having not any makeup on.
Because I always wake up before him. I wonder if I should do that type of prank when I actually do something and then wake him in that type of way. You see what he's saying, and I'm gonna look so scary. Or you'll see if he reacts.
You don't need to do that. I have to wake up next to you. That's bad enough.
He's lying. He do like me without makeup, so that's not the way. But he usually comment on my hair instead, that it looks really ridiculous.
Hair jump backwards springs to mind.
So for the biggest question over here, can you be together with a goth and being a metalhead, for an example? So
you can. It just like I said, at the end of the day, for anybody getting into the goth or metal scene sort and want to be with somebody else, case is hang out with people before and look at the aesthetics, look at what's going on, how they're going to be. If you're going to have a relationship with a goth or a metalhead, or the two get together, the boundaries can meld together as long as you give each other that bit of space or thing. Let the other person be who they want to be. I've never, in one way or another, pushed my music onto her, and vice versa. You accept the person for who they are at the end of the day, and if you start changing people because you want them your way, then sorry, you're not respectful in the person who's aesthetic could be goth, cyber goth, emo, fucking whichever sort of thing. Metalhead is just one fucking genre, it's just fucking one thing, that's all it is. Metalheads on metalheads, regardless how you look at it. I mean, you may get it, I mean, I'm sort of like middle ground sort of thing because the music will go heavier and it will go lighter. But at the end of the day, you know, metalheads can still vary themselves as well as goths can. But as long as the two people together are actually compatible and one doesn't force the other one, then I don't see any problem with what's going on with it.
And for those people that expect everything to be like all the memes on the internet, should you recommend them to be together? Just a simple yes or no.
What's the question again?
If you think about all the memes about getting a big titty goth girlfriend or something, what is your answer on that? Should they be together with one? I think, see all the grimaces here should be answer enough here. It looks like you don't recommend it.
This falsehood of, being with a goth with big boobs and everything else, like so on and so forth, or Metalhead who's got fucking women that got big boobs and everything. Oh, for crying out loud. Grow up.
Grow up is otherwise it's not gonna last.
No, the thing is, people get this into the mental state going, oh yeah, goths have got big tits and everything else like that, so on and so forth. No, they don't. A woman is a woman, a bloke is a bloke. It's as simple as that. You take them as they fucking come. It's not the case of, I got this little fancy to see and.
So we can agree about that the most important is to respect each other and meet maybe halfway. If you don't even bother to try like what the other person likes, then I don't think it's gonna work in the end. And we have been together for now soon 10 years in Sweden since we moved here, and it's much you need to give the other one space and you need to respect other type of choices sometimes. If you go for gigs, for an example, you can't go for just one type of gigs. You need to go for another type of gigs too, because you're two different people. You need to understand that. You can't just go to one thing and think the partner gonna be happy with it. It's like you can't play just one type of music either to be. But the best thing with Trevor is because we are similar age, so we are 80s kids both. So it's a lot of music that we still have in common because that was what was played.
70s kids, not fucking 80s kids.
We were not that old during that.
Doesn't matter. I was still born in the bloody 70s, not the
but
fucking 80s.
you know the 80s music. That is where we grew up in a lot of things and that. So we were a little too small maybe to count in the 70s because then it should be ridiculous with that type of music.
Well, you can. You were born 68, so you can count the 70s.
but the music taste didn't evolve really before in the end of 70s, and it started really come through in the 80s. But before that, it was more what your parents and that type of things forced on you. So it was not like you voluntarily was listening to things. Else, if I should go after my parents, I should like Elvis Presley and country and that type of music. And I don't like that much some of that. But Elvis Presley is, of course, something that reminds me of Dad. And so I could go with it, and I did enjoy the movies with him. But music-wise, what my dad was listening to, especially my mom was listening to, no, big no. So that should never happen. So, but it's like that. If you're gonna have a relationship that's gonna last, and you're two different type of people, so you need to know that. And like Trevor said, dig in, take interest in the history behind it, so you know what you are going into, especially if it's a person that's been into the scene for a longer time. It's maybe more simple to start dating someone that is new, even into golf or something, because then they maybe haven't been that long in the scene. But like me, been very long time in the scene too, so follow his recommendation, take interest in the history. It's a little like me too, have interest in the metal scene too, but I have the fortune that I actually grew up with the metalheads too, and did enjoy some metal music back then too, so it's not like I are an enemy towards metal music too.
What?
I can listen and really enjoy some of the metal music too, but I am a little more, it depends on my mood too. some of the metal music I can listen to any time, but then we have some music that is really mood related for me when it comes to
I
metal.
think with metal music, I think you like it a little bit more harder. I think the beat, I mean, some of the metal music can be sort of soft-wise because some of the stuff I listen to, you don't particularly like sort of thing. I mean, for example, Magnum, she thinks that they're more like rock. They're not metal as such, but they're more like a rock type thing. On the same as like Def Leppard sort of thing, but like I said, Magnum's been around for a lot longer. And she doesn't really like the band because she finds it a bit too soft for her liking. Even though I wouldn't mind she's actually seen them. That's a bit of a fucking puzzlement. She goes and sees them and doesn't really like them much. But she's more like a harder edge, a little bit more heavy, a little bit more growly. A little bit more shouty type thing, sort of thing, like Motionless in White's an example you could come up with. I mean, but then again, like I say, at the end of the day, I listen to that because it's easy listening. If, like I say, on the other side of that with the metal type of thing, if she has a preference of it, it's got to be a little bit more harder hitting, it's got to be a bit more fucking growly and shouty for her to enjoy more the metal side of it. As regarding like my counter to that is that when she listens to the stuff that she listens to on her phone, I kind of going, what the shit are you listening to? And then walk away, put my headphones on, and I'm away with the birds.
And sometimes we go with the headphones on, both of us, because one is listening to one thing and the other one is listening to something completely different. But we're not gonna make this video so much longer. We thought it was just the thing we talked about before, to making it like this couple type of video too. And because people seem to enjoy when Trevor is in the videos too, even if they wish for a little more vlogs.
Excuse me, no. I'm not a camera type person. I'm not kind of one who watches it. So yes, it's all really, really, really nice that people go, when's he gonna be back online again?
So he is a little bit more camera shy, but the worst thing is that he lives with some kind of paparazzi too.
I've never been one for cameras or something.
So I can almost see the black clouds when he see me taking out the camera, and he knew that I would start filming or something. So, but because we didn't have that long vacation, and when you're gonna see this, this actually is the last day of the vacation when this goes up. So I have also respected that thing to not film what we have done most of the thing, even if it's not doing that much, but it's just one thing really during the vacation we have filmed. Mm-hmm. But the rest I had to let be, because he had his point too, that why film everything is not a YouTube content either. And to respect him, I showed that I don't have to put it up on YouTube then, so he should feel a little more happier. But I hope that in the future that we can have a little more, because I know that like the thing with the candy test and other things we have done, and sometimes
I just want to see my ugly mug and straightforward talking on here, that's all it is.
So we have to see when and if it shows up again. Oh, but I know it's not going to be that often. So
no.
So we have to deal with that, but at least you have met him now. People can see that I got a comment this Friday that said on one of my shorts, this is the sad type of woman that living that have scared away all the men. So she now a single woman scared away all the men, or something like that he was writing. And I was, okay, you definitely haven't seen my content, and you definitely haven't seen me talking or anything like that, or seen some of the pics sometimes I post where Trevor is actually in the pic too. So, no, I'm not single. I live with this man. We lived together for almost 10 years, so no.
And like I've said to you before, stupid, negative comments like that, all you do is you look at the profile, go block, bye.
So, yeah, but I want to thank you. Big thanks to my Trevor here that actually did this. I'm not sure how entertaining this was, but at least you can have a little insight in how at least we think as a couple about the differences. And if you like my type of things, you do the usual stuff. I'm not gonna bore Trevor with doing all those things. But like I said, I'm a goth, not just stuck in one box, and I want people to know that you're not losing your goth points for it. So just be you. Be happy being you.
Yep.
That's what's most important. And else, I hope everybody stays safe, stay weird, and be nice to each other. Love you all. Thanks for watching. Bye. And big thanks to Trevor too.
Yeah.
Yeah, he can't do anything without that type of behavior. Poor his mom always said that he's up to mischiefs.
Yeah.
So, bye.
Bye.